Good evening, everybody. How we doing? This is an ATR Network YouTube exclusive right here. I'm John. As always, I am joined with Carl and Ryan. How we doing tonight, guys?
Doing good.
Doing all right, man. Doing all right.
Now, most of the time we come on here, we're usually busting each other's balls, having fun.
Hmm.
But there's been one topic that we have been wanting to talk about, I would say, for the longest time, and that's mental health. And it's something that everybody, I don't care what level you are of success in this world, everybody has some form of it. And folks, I want you guys to hear our three stories because even though we're YouTubers, all three of us have different forms of deal with mental health. Because what I want you guys to realize with this whole thing, once the soul is all said and done, you can overcome your mental health. It's going to be a tough battle. It's going to be a tough road. But as long as you put the grind into it, you can achieve anything. And like I said, folks, this episode will be a little touchy for some people. So I'm just forewarning you guys now that there'll be some subject matter talked about tonight that may not be suitable for all ages. So viewer discretion is advised. Now, which of you guys would like to go first and kind of tell your story?
Oh, me? Okay. So,
With the middle child.
uh, the middle child. So, um, for for those of you that really don't know who I am, my name is Ryan Peterson. I am one of the co-hosts of the Around the Rose podcast here on the ATR Network, and I'm also a ring announcer for MMA, kickboxing, and professional wrestling up and down the East Coast and Alaska. Been doing that for the last 10 years. And and some of you that may know me, I am the happy-go-lucky, always in a positive mood type of guy. But for the longest time, that was never the case. I grew up in a single parent home with my mother for many years. My father was really never in the picture, and when I turned 15, he really was never in the picture because he moved to Texas, and I haven't seen my father in God, going on 15 years now. It's insane. But whenever I did, visitations with my father, it was always it was the weirdest ones because he would, I would go over to his house and in one room he would watch TV and I would watch TV in the other room. That's not proper visitation, in my opinion. And also growing up, I have I still have to this day, but I still I manage it a lot better. I have a learning disability called CAPD, or Central Auditory Processing Delay. And what that means in medical terms is that my brain can it takes a little longer to process certain aspects. Especially when I was growing up, I did speech therapy, I did regular therapy, dealing with depression and whatnot. Growing up, not having any friends, and there were a couple of times in my life, my young in life before high school ended. There were a couple of times where I just wanted to end it because 'cause I felt like there was nothing for me in the world. And when I left high school, I always got picked on. I'm sorry, I always got picked on, getting bullied. Always, whether it's in person or online. And I overcame that, and everything was going. And when I started announcing, everything was going fine. Everything was going great. But then in 2016, that's when the my depression kicked in really badly because that's when my mother got sick. So on top of doing at the time my regular job and announcing, I was also taking care of my mother. And then 2 years later, on top of those three things, we almost lost our house. So I was packing up an entire five-floor house by myself without any help. There were actually a few times where I ended up in the hospital because I was sick from everything. Because I felt like my entire world was, I felt like I feel like I had 10,000 pounds on each shoulder, just doing everything by myself with no help whatsoever. And then that bitch of a virus named COVID came along and really messed things up for everybody because just like everybody else, we couldn't see each other, we couldn't hang out, do parties and whatnot for a while. But March 11th was the last time that I saw my mother alive. I was at the peak of the pandemic because a few weeks later, on April 4th, 2020, my mother, at 56 years young, and I'm not saying old because she was fucking young, passed away from cardiac arrest. And that was a massive, devastating blow to me. I'm trying not to. Again, folks, as John said, there are going to be some touchy subjects where all three of us really get into this. Um, when that happened, at first I was still in a state of shock, like, is this really happening and whatnot. And then the following day, that's when everything really hit me. I found the one thing that it was the last thing that I gave my mother on Valentine's Day that year, which was a stuffed teddy bear, like a stuffed Valentine's Day teddy bear. I literally stopped what I was doing, took it with me to my bedroom, and I literally laid in the corner, curled up like a baby in a crib, and I was done. I was gone. I was like, and because of and because of all that, I actually was considering walking away from announcing because I didn't have the fire or the willpower to do so because my biggest supporter is no longer here. And literally, I was actually this close to possibly quitting my job and just being in complete hermit mode and just stay away from the rest of the world, not talk to anybody, and probably just rot away because that's how depressed I was. So, but I will say though, on a positive side, not only did a couple of close family friends, including this one up here, but also I had a couple of family members that actually, one of them actually went to where I used to live, surprised me, and slapped me across the face, saying, and I quote, "You're out of your fucking mind if you're going to be pulling that shit on us." And I took that, very, very near and dear to my heart, and I kept on going. I'm still keep on going. Yes, there are some days, especially around the holiday season, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, birth, which is why I feel like this is the appropriate time to be doing this because this is when usually the highest rates of mental health come into place, and that is during the holidays. Um, but it's been a roller coaster, I'll tell you that. But as of right now, which is by the time of the recording, I'm just gonna say the date. It is no For us, it's November 18th, 2022. I don't know when will this get released, but on the day that we're recording this, I am at a much better place. Not only work wise, but a little bit mental wise. Yes, I am. I am getting help. I am getting professional help from therapists. Trust my people, they work wonders. Um, and yeah, and that's basically my story. And again, folks, if you have just like John and Carl, if you guys have our DMs are always open. Our DMs are always open. If you want to talk to us about what you're dealing with, please feel free to reach out because I feel like that's the one thing that it's missing in the world today, and that is a listening ear. Not that many people want to do that. Not that many people want to go above and beyond to help others in dire situations like that. But the three of us, we are absolutely there for everybody. Shit. Yeah.
Ryan, I will
Good.
I applaud you for telling that whole story. And,
Yeah.
and I know, I've only known you now for 6 months now, going on 7 months,
Hmm.
somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
But I hope me knowing you in that short amount of time, I hope I've helped too with everything.
Absolutely. Carl, are definitely Carl. Our other co-host, Costa. We're all there for each other because we're one big dysfunctional family.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's
Yeah.
a good way to put it.
But that's my story, ladies and gentlemen. Who's next?
Oof.
Johnny boy.
Yep.
Johnny boy.
Yep. John, you're
Uh,
next.
oh boy, this could be a fun one. But guys, I'm Jon Blayne. I am one of the other hosts on the Around the Ropes podcast. I have been doing podcasts now going on 11 years. Started it in August of 2011 when I first attended Nassau Community College right out here in Garden City, Long Island. I know people always say Garden City, New York. I call it Garden City, Long Island. Growing up, I grew up, with I pick on them to this day, but I grew up with two siblings and two siblings who were 14 months apart. So growing up for a while, I was kind of on my own, so to speak, because my parents were raising they were raising three kids, but two of them were 14 months apart. And so a lot of the stuff I've had to learn on my own. Growing up through middle school and high school, I was kind of the odd man out on a lot of things. People did not want to talk to me. A lot of people kind of laughed at me because people looked at me on the outside and saw an overweight teenager who a lot of times, I'm going to be completely honest right now, a lot of times I didn't shower. So who's going to want to hang out with somebody who doesn't shower? So a lot of it I had on my own. But again, going through high school, like I said, nobody wanted to talk to me. I was kind of the one that everybody picked on, like I said, because of the weight. I also have ADD, undiagnosed depression, all that stuff. Growing up also, if you guys know me personally, you guys know that my mom has gone through a lot of medical stuff that has I'm not saying it's put a damper on a lot of it, but this is actually pretty recent. And Brian and Carl, you guys were both there when this whole story happened. There was a good chance 2 weeks ago that I would have lost my mother. And she's a freaking warrior, that woman. She's been through hell and back. And it's added to a lot of the depression. It's added because, again, I don't know what to expect day from day with her. But also with me, and this is the first time I'm saying this publicly, I was also mentally abused growing up by family members because I was always looked at as, I know in families, they always say, oh, there's never such a thing as your favorite one. In my house growing up, there was. My younger brother was always the favorite child because he was always the one who got the straight A's, who was the athlete growing up. And I wasn't. I was barely an athlete. I could barely walk from here to the kitchen without tripping over my own 2 feet. And it kept going. And there was a few times where I thought, well, what purpose do I have anymore in this world? Obviously, nobody wants to talk to me. Everybody always tries to avoid me in any which way, shape, or form. And there was one time I vividly remember where I actually attempted suicide. And basically, I'll tell the story quickly. I was in my bedroom one time and I decided to wrap a towel around my neck. And then I kind of had a moment there and I'm like, what am I doing? Then over time, there were certain people, and I'm going to name them right now. And I know this is going to go against, the name dropping thing, but I have to. Meeting people like Carl, like Ryan, another good friend of mine, Billy, Liz, they've kind of pushed me into realizing that, yeah, I may have done some stupid things, as I call it, the greatest hits of stupidity, but I'm still valuable. I'm still worth something. And even now, like when I get a text message from any of them and they go, "How are you doing today?" Or they're checking up on me. It puts a smile on my face. And looking at it now, it has kind of proven to me that there are people out there who care. And I don't know if I'd be sitting here right now doing this recording if it wasn't for them. Because mentally, I don't know where I would be. And I still have people to this day who tell me that why am I putting time in to certain things? And I look at when we do our regular show every Tuesday night, it's an escape for me. When Carl, when you call me, or Ryan, when you call me, or when Billy calls me, or when Liz texts me, it's a kind of an escape. Because I know that I may bitch and complain to them, but I know they'll get my mind off of what's going on. So like Ryan said, if you're dealing with any sort of mental health problem, realize you can overcome it. There's nothing stopping you. And like Ryan said before, my DMs are open. If not, shoot me a tweet. I will follow you back, and I will definitely be. And this is what I tell everybody. I may not have the experience that a lot of people do, but I'm a great listener. I will listen. I will give you my point of view on it. You may not like it, but I'll listen. I don't care. You can call me 3 o'clock in the morning. I may not pick up, but then I'll call you back early that morning. But, and this goes to anybody, talk to somebody. Don't go what I did and let eat your emotions away. Because then you're going to run into what I have run into, where you've had family members who tell me that they're surprised I'm still alive. And that's my story.
And actually, I'm sorry to interrupt, Carl. You brought up a valid point, and I forgot to mention it in my story because everything was going on. Just like you, John, in high school and everything, I too also had weight issues, and that was another reason why I was very depressed. When I graduated high school, I kid you not, I was pushing 450 pounds. I was huge. It may not look like I was, but I was. But according to my scale, I was. And when I will say this, I said this on on a few other interviews that I've had in the past with other podcasts. Wrestling announcing, just announcing in general, saved my life because it gave me a better perception of how to make myself look presentable in the public eye, and especially when someone like me who's pushing 450 pounds, busting his ass for the last 10 years. And before you ask, I get asked this question a lot. No, I did not get the lap band or the plastic surgery. Yeah, I get that question a lot when they see me over the years. I mean, hell, I think Carl even asked me about that when he saw me one time. And no, but to this day, I'm now at 320. So 130 pounds in 10 years. Granted, it was a little lower, but the pandemic kind of messed everybody up. But still, that's a hell of a lot better than 450 in my opinion. So again, folks, like John said, just do what you got, do what you need, do what you think makes you happy.
Now are
I
you
just want to
ready?
throw it in there, so I apologize. So now,
No.
Carl, your turn.
So I'm Carl Roberts, I'm producer of the Around the Road, part of the network like other two here, and which they forgot to say that they're part of the network. I did it for you two. But mine goes back to when I was in school. I have ADD. Second grade, I only spent half a second grade in mainstream second grade. I went into special ed because my condition of ADD is I can't be in a large classroom. Fine, not a problem. Gotta get up to sixth grade, and now it becomes interesting. Turn around and had a principal that if you actually Google New Jersey principal, you can find this out. Decided to take pictures of 41 boys. It's kind of hard to discuss at the time, but they never touched us, just took us in different provocative poses. Ever since that, I couldn't handle an authority figure. I was combative. Never listened to my father. Looked at him as, you're an authority. I don't listen to you. Fast forward to the high school, getting picked on all the time. Contemplated ending my life. Fast forward a little bit more, go to graduate. Next thing I have my graduation party here at the house. Next thing I know, I got one principal and a teacher show up. Okay, cool. Maybe I had 4 or 5 friends, and I had all my family. But something was missing. What was missing was my mentality, because I was all messed up. Fast forward a couple of more years, I meet a woman. I have a child. I become a father. At this point, my life changed around. Great. Got everything going for me so far. Mind you, so far. That's when 2 years in, fighting starts. Everything starts coming back. Big time. Get a divorce. I meet another woman, and we're talking. Went to school with her. She graduated 2 years before. Love it. We're getting ready to get married. Turned to her, sorry, your cousin can't come. She goes, what do you mean? Your cousin can't come. His mother can, but not him. I refuse. It was the principal. Turned out to be my ex-wife's cousin. He agreed not to come. We see him later on. Everything's copacetic. A few years in between that time, I sit downstairs in my basement and I start to really think about things. Folks, if you know what this is, I don't have to say anything, but I keep this from my first time ever going to the gun range, because this is how close I came to myself ending it. This is a reminder of what I have been through and my future going forward to get away from this. Now, this year was the worst year of my life. If it wasn't for that one And this one, I don't know where I would be right now. And I'm going to explain why. Memorial weekend before Memorial Day, my father goes into the hospital for back pain. They find a mass in his stomach. Basically took over the entire stomach. Turns out it's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay, great. We could beat this. Cancer. It's cancer. We could beat this. Non-Hodgkin's you could beat. It's where it's the Hodgkin's you can't. Yeah, no. Large B-cell lymphoma, which means that the cancer cells spread faster than any other cancer cells in the world. And it does not show its face until it's ready to, and it's basically the end of time. So, Mr. Blayne and I were up in Albany, New York, for the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. That Sunday, I get a phone call at 5:30 in the morning from the hospital down here that my father's in. Mind you, two of them. I don't realize this until 6 o'clock when I wake up, and I'm like, oh, shit. They had to jump my father's heart, everything. Trent says, listen, I'm 2 hours away. Keep him alive. Sure. On my way down, and John can vouch for this, I get another phone call. I was like, listen, I'm an hour away. Just keep him alive. I get down there. I walk in. My father didn't even know I was there. My father went from 185 pounds down to 125. Hooked up to all these machines. I looked at the nurse and says, who the hell is this? And they're like, that's your father. She's like, no, it's not. Came home. Sharon told my mother my father was suffering. She turns and says, let him go. Now, mind you, my father was supposed to come home on hospice. Well, let me backtrack this. When they first diagnosed him, they turned and says if he didn't have the chemo, he would only last 5 years. Dad's like, let's do the chemo. I got a grandson. I want to watch him graduate. My son is currently 17 years old. Just turned 17. They start doing all the tests. It was in his bone marrow. There's no coming back from that. So that was the 28th of August. August 31st, my father passes away. That's the Wednesday of Labor Day weekend. Trying to tell my mother. She goes, okay, he's not suffering anymore. That Friday and Saturday was the wake and the service. I got to give these two gentlemen the biggest heart in the world because John showed up. Ryan was on the phone with me. They didn't have to come from Long Island to New Jersey, but we're family. And we would do that for anybody in our family. And when I say family, I'm not just talking about the three of us or our good friend Costa. Anybody that we associate with and deal with is family to us. And it's the old saying, you mess with one, you mess with us all. But fast forwarding, I've had my moments here and there where I'm depressed because now everything's dumped on me, taking care of my mother, who's got her own health issues, the house, everything. I'm a big, huge Chicago Fire fanatic. Love it to death. The other day, I'm watching through YouTube, and for those of you that watch Chicago Fire, if you remember Severide's father, Benny, Battalion Chief Benny Severide, when he passed away, when he turned and said, Dad, sleep tight, you earned it. that hit me the most because I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my father, really. That depression of knowing my father's not here, and this is our first Thanksgiving and Christmas without him, it fucks with your mind, people. Depression is the worst thing in the world. Now, I'm not the type of person that gets emotional. If I learned anything from my father, and I've learned a lot, it's always be there for your support group, no matter what it is. I'm there for my mother, my son. Dude, I've thought of ending it after he passed. But there's also something else that's keeping me going. I could talk to people that know my situation, and I thank them a lot. Because if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I would be. My business that I have besides this would be gone. What I'm going to say to you guys here, if you're going through this depression, whatever it could be from, it doesn't make you less of a person asking for help. You took the first step in the right direction, and that's asking for help. Even if you just talk to somebody that knows what you are going through, will change your mind. Because I'm going to tell you right now, losing a parent, and Ryan can vouch for this, it's still one of the most worst things somebody can go through. You understand, yes, losing a parent of old age, great, but not of a disease or a sudden. That is the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't want to wish that on my own enemies, and I have plenty of them. I wouldn't even ask them to go through it. Because you know what? It's not fair.
And I agree more, especially when like you said, the first major holidays without your parent there. Believe me, 2 years ago, I definitely felt that massive pain. During, you know where I was for Thanksgiving and Christmas? I was home alone by myself because again, also that was during COVID, but still, the fact that I was home on the first major holidays by myself, it it's just I agree with Carl. It's something that I wouldn't even want to put on my enemies as well. And just like Carl, I got my own enemies, and that's the last thing and folks. I'll get to that part like later on, like towards the end when we're wrapping things up. But yeah, go
I'll tell
ahead,
you
I
John.
just
this.
want to
You want to know how I got through it? You want to know how I got through my depression? It's going to be
How?
fucking weird, but I'm going to prove it. I go to the gun range. You know why? It's a stress relief.
Yep.
I can actually fire a gun, not a problem. And I don't even think about my depression. It's when I sit still is when I feel it. And you know what also helps me too now? I have my dog. Even though he's a pain in my ass, you two have met him.
Yeah.
He's a 10 and a half
yeah.
year old pain in the ass, but he acts like a pup, and it's a pit bull. And that's my boy.
Yeah.
What I
They
love
always
about
say.
it, he comes in and he goes right to my mother every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Dogs have that extra. Dogs have that extra sixth sense that humans don't have. Especially they know that if something is wrong, you don't have to tell them anything because they're there to help de-stress you and whatnot. And that's I really wish I could own the dog, but unfortunately, my landlord unfortunately says no pets. But still, it's every time I go to a friends or even a couple of family members that have dogs, they always come to me and they always make me smile, and that's the one thing I love about
Yep.
I think another thing that we can also add to this, as far as another way to help cope with it, like I said before, is talk to somebody. Everybody has their close group of friends who they know they can turn to in any situation. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, and I'll go back to what happened the weekend that my mom ended up in the hospital, where we thought it was literally the end. And I'll put it out right now. I had a conversation. Carl, you were there. You heard the whole conversation with my dad
Yep.
about me coming home. And then I thought about it. I'm like, what's the point of me coming home? I was that weekend. It was Carl, you were there. Ryan was there. Billy was there. I was like, between the three of you, you
That
guys
was
would get my
Halloween
mind
weekend.
off of it. That was
it.
Halloween. Yes.
That was, yep, that was Halloween weekend.
Even me talking to Liz through text message, it gets my mind off of it because it shows that there are people who actually care. Yes, am I a pain in the ass? That's just in my nature. Do I do stupid things? Again, that's in my nature. But I know damn well that not only the two people who are on screen with me right now, not only Costa, but like Carl said, anybody who I associate with, I know has my back. And they always say blood is thicker than water. But yeah, this was definitely a very eye-opening episode. I'll have to say.
and and I actually like to do a little PSA right now for the viewers out there, if you gentlemen don't mind.
Nope. Go
Go
ahead.
right ahead.
So the main thing about this whole exclusive is, if again, talk to somebody. And I feel like this is the perfect time for me to, I want to say, I'm trying to, publicly display what this the hotline, for those that don't know. So it's called the Lifeline, and 988. Now, 988 has been designated as the new three-digit dialing code that will route callers to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, now known as the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And it's active across the United States. The previous Lifeline phone number, which is 1-800-273-8255, will always remain available to people in emotional distress or suicidal crisis. But just know that there is a quicker way on getting to that hotline. Uh, when people call, text, or even chat the 988 number, they will be connected to trained counselors that are part of the existing Lifeline network. These trained counselors will listen, understand how their problems are affecting them, provide support, and connect them to resources if necessary. The Lifeline's network of over 200 crisis centers across the country has been around since 2005 and has been proven to be very effective. It is the counselors at these local crisis centers who answer the contacts the Lifeline receives every single day. Numerous studies have shown that callers feel less suicidal, less depressed, less overwhelmed, and a lot more hopeful after speaking with a Lifeline counselor. So, folks, it's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, 1-800-273-8255, or just a simple 988. And there will always be someone there to help you, listen to you, guide you, whatever you need to make your life a lot better. Because, as Carl said, it doesn't make you less of a person. It makes you even more of a person because you are taking the first step by yourself into the I would say the right path of getting better.
And folks, in case you missed the number will be in the description below on this video once this video gets uploaded to our YouTube channel.
Both numbers, both of them.
Both numbers, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
But guys, I also want you guys to realize one thing. Like Ryan said this before, if you need to reach out to somebody, and you can follow all three of us on Twitter, we'll give those out momentarily. You can always shoot us a DM. We'll listen. Any of us on this on right now, we'll listen. Costa as well, and he's not even on here, and I'll put him in that same boat. Because guys, when it comes to this network, everybody matters.
Yes. And one more final thing. I know I'm talking a lot about it, but when it comes to mental health, I'm a huge advocate for it. The reason why the three of us, the reason why we all decided to do this was because we wanted to set a point to anybody out there that's either in the same boat or in a completely different boat, worse, better, it doesn't matter. We wanted to do this to showcase to you all that no matter what you're going through in life, there is always a way to get out of it. There's always a way to get yourself better. I mean, again, you heard our stories. You heard our stories of what we've all been through growing up and currently, and how we've overcome.
Right, I completely agree. I mean, we're three people. Yeah, granted, we're all pretty much from the same area, the tri-state area, but we come from three different walks of life. We've all three of us have been through, to put it nicely and to put it bluntly, we've all been through hell and back. And we've all been at points where we thought we hit rock bottom. And then there are certain people that come into our lives. There are certain moments that happen that you realize that life is better than being at rock bottom. And like I said, if you have those friends, reach out to them. If you have a good enough friend, they're not going to be pissed at you if you give them a call and say, "Hey, I want to talk." Trust me, they're not going to be pissed at you.
Folks,
But
also
guys,
too, stay tuned for another edition of this, because this is bigger than just the three of us, and we'll get into that in the next video.
I totally agree. But guys, because of what we said before about people can DM us, where can people find, Carl, throw it to you first, where can people find you on Twitter?
So I'm going to go full screen on this one. Right here is my Twitter, Carl Rob ATR. My DMs are always open. You can find me there. Hit me up.
Brian?
Folks, you can find me on Twitter right down there below at Ryan_MC. Just like Carl, my DMs are always open. Please feel free to reach out. I will respond 100% every single time.
And I am at Twitter at Jon_Blayne. My DMs are always open as well. You can definitely find me there. And guys, as I said, we want to use this as a platform to show people that you may be dealing with whatever you're dealing with. And you may think, oh, I have no purpose. No, you do have a purpose. Everybody has a purpose. Guys, I hope you guys took something from this episode tonight, again, go to our YouTube page, hit the subscribe button. You'll get and hit the bell for all notifications. You'll be notified as soon as we have any videos going up, including this one. And guys, hit the like button, hit the comment button, leave your comments below. We'd love to get your guys' take on this. And like Carl said, we'll have more of these episodes coming out really soon. Again, for Ryan and Carl, I am John. This has been ATR Network Exclusive. Catch us this Tuesday for the 1-year anniversary of the Around the Ropes podcast. But until then, guys, just remember, everybody matters. But until then, catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Love you guys.